Hey guys, this is Matt Miller with PolitiBrawl News. Watch Marjorie Taylor Greene confront the CEO of PBS, a public television network that receives our tax dollars, that has been apparently exposing our children to the weirdest, wokest programming. Watch her absolutely go off at this CEO for what PBS has been showing our kids.
The audience of public radio and television is declining. And I know this because I represent a rural district where farmers listen to podcasts and internet-based news while they drive their tractors. At the same time, NPR and PBS have increasingly become radical left-wing echo chambers for a narrow audience of mostly wealthy, white, urban liberals and progressives who generally look down on and judge rural America. PBS News is not just left-leaning, but it is actively uses taxpayer funds to push some of the most radical left positions, like featuring a drag queen on the show Let's Learn, a show targeted toward young children ages 3 to 8 years old. I want you to know I grew up watching children's programming on PBS. And as a mother who raised 3 children, I felt confident that I could leave the room while my own children were watching children's programming on PBS. But I can tell you right now, Ms. Kruger, specifically, as a mother, if I had walked in my living room or one of my children's bedrooms and seen this child predator and this monster targeting my children, I would become unglued. And that is how most parents feel all over this country. This is not the only example of them sexualizing and grooming children. They've been doing it for over the last decade. In 2015, PBS produced Frontline, put out a documentary, Growing Up Trans, that takes viewers on an intimate and eye-opening journey inside the struggles and choices facing transgender kids and their families. This means that PBS is one of the founders of the trans child abuse industry, all while taking taxpayer money. Brainwashing and transing children is an issue so hated by parents across the country that it was a driving force in the landslide Republican and Trump victory in the 2024 election cycle and presidential race. The news that these entities produced is either resented or increasingly tuned out and turned off by most of the hardworking Americans who are forced to pay for it. They no longer view NPR and PBS as trusted news sources.
This is the proper role of DOGE. This is exactly what we need DOGE and Elon Musk for, to examine these areas of our government or where our government's tax dollars are going and seeing, is it actually necessary, useful, and valuable for the taxpayer, or is it just a ideologically driven left-wing woke brainwashing that apparently PBS is? You know, this is a station that receives our tax dollars. It's publicly funded, and it's involved in promoting the ideology of one political party or one side of the political spectrum. You know, showing drag queens, showing all this leftist messaging. This is not what our government should be showing our kids. This is brainwashing them. It's radicalizing them at a very impressionable young age. And you know what? If a station out there wants to do that and some woke liberal parents want their kids to watch it, that's one thing if it's private. But the fact that we're all forced to fund this with our tax dollars, that is horrendous and that's unforgivable. So I'm glad that DOGE, which is doing things with a heavy hand, you know, admittedly, but I love it. I mean, look, all of the proper all the proper roles that different areas of government have to check itself fail because you're asking the criminal to investigate themselves. You know, they say, oh, Congress is in charge of giving money to these programs, so Congress should be the one to take it away if we're going to take anything away. Well, Congress can't decide on anything, and it's done a horrible job cutting down government to be less bloated, more efficient, less wasteful, less fraudulent. Congress is not effective at this role. It's not effective in doing this. We need an outside party like DOGE to go in, investigate, audit this crap, and expose it for the American people to see where our money is being wasted. And with the blessing of the president, eliminate it. Start firing people. Start showing the American people what their tax dollars are actually funding and what they're being forced to support. And whatever comes of that, let it come. This is transparency. This is exactly what we need to see of our government. We need to see the good, bad, and the ugly. We need to know what our government is doing. So, and this is the problem with a lot of these departments that DOGE is targeting, is that they've been completely consumed by the left. They are full of people who see themselves as activists. Departments like USAID, departments like the Department of Education, they are full of left-wing activists that are trying to use their role, funded by the taxpayer, their salary is paid for by me and you, and they're trying to use their role to progress this left-wing agenda. And that's why we see so many of these shocking line items like transgender musicals that were being funded, DEI programs across the world that the American taxpayer is funding. I don't know about you, but I don't want my tax dollars to go to DEI programs. I don't care if in Serbia, that was the most expensive one I saw, over $1 million for it. If Serbians have diversity and equity and inclusion, I don't care what kind of inclusive language Serbians are using. They can use whatever language they want. And honestly, they probably hate it. They're a pretty conservative society in Eastern Europe. They had to fight the communists and fight the Muslims. Basically, that's the whole story of Serbia for the last 1,000 years. I doubt that most Serbians care about DEI. And that's probably why the bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. see a problem there and want to spend millions of our tax dollars on it. I think it's a frivolous, wasteful, and fraudulent expense that needs to be eliminated. And wherever else we're doing that. If they want to have DEI programs, let them pay for it themselves. If they want to have transgender surgeries, why is the American taxpayer funding that? It's the most absurd thing, and it should enrage all of us as American taxpayers. It's unacceptable. So PBS, NPR, they're on the chopping block today. Yesterday it was the Department of Education, and before that USAID. And I think DOGE better continue going through the entire federal government, examining, auditing, and eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse wherever it's found. This is one of the best things that's happened to our government, and the Democrats hate it, which is another indicator that this needs to happen. If it's against their agenda, then it's probably a good thing. Not always, but you're probably headed in the right direction. These people worship government. They think government, big, authoritarian government, is the answer to everything. What we really need to do is move a lot of this stuff, if it is important, to the private sector, where it can compete in a marketplace where competence is rewarded, not tenure and failing upwards, and a lot of these very bad bureaucratic cultures that have developed in Washington, D.C. These people are extremely high paid, too. 6 figures across the board, a lot of them. They are bloated, they are wasteful, and there needs to be a culture-shocking change in D.C. And honestly, I don't care if every single T is crossed and every single I is dotted. He's getting results for the American people. He's doing it in a way that he was appointed by the president, who was elected by the American people, to go and investigate this stuff. He is not an employee of the government, but he is an outside party that's looking into where we're having all these issues. So let me know what you guys think of it in the comments. Do you think that Marjorie Taylor Greene and the DOGE committee is doing a good job calling out these bureaucrats and these areas of waste with our tax dollars? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you guys get notified when we post brand new videos to PolitiBrawl and PolitiBrawl News. Go check out basespy.shop, which is our merchandise shop. I'll leave the link in the description to get the Doge Patrol uniform, the hat and the shirt. If you guys haven't seen our Doge Patrol video, I'll also leave the link to that in the description here. Thank you again for your support, and I'll see you next time.